everyone and welcome to CFC Fan TV. Now I'm sure you all saw my video yesterday. I was extremely mad and I've had time to reflect since then, of course. And I've more or less decided that this video has to be done. So for those of you who don't like it, I'm really sorry, but I'm giving you my opinion. It might only be 1-4-0 defeat, but I just see that as completely unacceptable. I feel bad for the fans that travelled all that way and stood in the freezing cold for however long. And I think our performances just over the last couple of months have been terrible, boring, uninspiring. They show a lack of motivation. They show a lack of determination in the squad. And yeah, so this video has to be done. This is my opinion, my personal preference. If you disagree, I'm all up for hearing it. And please comment below. And of course, follow us on Patreon as well. There'll be some extra stuff on there this week. The link is in the description below. But yeah, these are the 5 reasons that I now believe Sarri should no longer be Chelsea manager. Point 1, and a very important point for me, and it has become over, like I say, the last couple of months, I would say moving Kante out of position. Now, I know Jorginho is incredibly important to his system. I still think that Jorginho can work in the squad. I just don't think that what Sarri's doing is right for our team, is right for our system, is right for the way Chelsea plays. Kante is one of the best holding midfielders in the world. So whether or not your system involves him or not, if you're going to put him on the pitch, he needs to be playing as a defensive midfielder. That is his job. That is his role. That's why we bought him. He to me, you could see the difference when Kante came from Leicester to Chelsea. You could see how much we improved, and you could see how much they deteriorated, and that was because, well, not deteriorated, but you know, they fell down in the league. And that was because they didn't have that stability in the midfield anymore. And he was, I think, while everyone credits Jamie Vardy and Mahrez and everyone in that league campaign, you know, Kante, for me, was instrumental in that. I don't think they would have won it without him. So to have him come to our club and now not be doing the main job that he can do, I'm all up for experimenting, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't work. We just lost 4-0. It doesn't work. You know, playing him out of position doesn't work. For the last few weeks, few months, I've sat with Dan in the shed end and we're just talking like, this is terrible. This is uninspiring football. For attacking football, it really is the most boring stuff I've ever watched. So, you know, I think it's gone a bit too far now. I think at the end of the day, you have to stop being stubborn and realise that your system isn't working. It's clear to see the players aren't responding to it. And whilst I don't think Kante is the type to ever kick up a fuss, I can imagine he's so dedicated and hardworking. That's not his main role. His main role is a CDM, and he needs to be back there. And it's quite clear to see that Sarri isn't going to change it. So unfortunately, that is my point 1. Point 2 is Eden Hazard. Now, I understand we had a major problem with our striking situation. You know, it's not all. This can't all be down to the manager, I think. I think, obviously, that before he came in, you know, when the club signed Morata, they thought, this is going to be our long-term investment. This is going to be our £70 million player who is going to be, you know, a takeover from Diego Costa. And, you know, he's a different style of player, but he's going to get the goals. And, you know, you don't spend that much money on a player unless you think, oh, he's in it for the long run. So that was one bit of business that just didn't work out, just didn't pay off. And we got ourselves into a massive pickle because of it. However, what Sarri's done, I think, when he's moved Hazard out of position for more than one game, which was the City game, and that was the only game he needed to move him out of position for, was, I think, not rattle his cage, I think just frustrate him. And at the end of the day, the whole problem with Hazard is that we've got, you know, these rumours flying around that he's always said he wants to go to Real Madrid one day. That's fine. But we want to keep him for as long as possible. Obviously, he's our best player. He's one of the best players in the world. So you want to keep your best player, and I think pissing him off in any way by moving him out of position in a position that he does not want to play in, when you do have Giroud as an option, and it's quite clear to see on the pitch, you know, you look at that Arsenal game, it didn't work. And he still didn't make the substitution till 75th, 80th minute. It was ridiculous. I mean, if that was me at half-time, you'd want to move it around straight away. And when Hazard went back into his normal position, he started to play 10 times better. So I don't think what he's done with Hazard in the last couple of months has worked. I don't think it's done any good for the relationship that he has with the club. I don't think it's done any good for trying to keep Hazard. I don't think it makes him want to stay at all. I think it just makes him even more frustrated because he wants to be playing in the Champions League. He wants to win Champions Leagues. And we're not going to be doing that if the manager can't get the system right. So, yeah, that's point 2, and it has to be a main issue for me. Point 3 is furthering on from that. I think he's lost the dressing room. To me, you don't see a game like that where we lose 4-0 unless your players really don't want to play for the manager. I don't think it's a case of them doing it on purpose as such, but in terms of being motivated to any games, in terms of actually caring, I don't think they cared at all. All bar maybe Dave, I don't think they really cared. I think it was Dave and Louise that went over to the fans against Bournemouth and said apologised or whatever, and I don't want the players to get any hate, for the majority. The rest went down the tunnel, but I don't think they're playing for Sarri. I don't think they want him there. I think whatever's going on, whether it's major or not, I think they're fed up with the results they're getting. I think they don't like the system they're playing in. And whilst Sarri says it's a very hard team of players to motivate, there must be something they don't like. And at the end of the day, we've been through this before. Are you going to fire a manager or fire a whole team? And at the end of the day, it always ends up being the manager. Now, for Sarri, normally I think you expect this maybe in towards the end of the second season. This is like what happened with Conte. We're only 6 months in, and to be getting these sorts of results now really, really isn't good. So that to me says he has lost the dressing room. They don't want to play for him, and it's as simple as that, really. You don't lose 4-0 against Bournemouth. You don't have your biggest defeat since 1996 just because you're not a talented squad. They are a hugely talented squad, a hugely credited squad, and he's not getting the best out of them. Point 4 is a point that I didn't want to make, but I suppose it has to be reiterated, and that is the fact that he doesn't have any proven track record of winning trophies. Now, how can I put this? I didn't mind that when he first came, because I think if you've got proven tactics and you're coming up through the ranks, and as a manager or a player, whoever, I think that's fine. You've got to invest a little bit in it, but at the end of the day, if this was happening 3 years down the line, I probably would say, we're going through a bad spell, we'll stick it out. But this is happening 6 months in, and I do think that is, unfortunately, you're just prolonging the inevitable. And by that I mean, I don't think a trophy's going to come. And I think actually for Sarri, I don't think he needed to win the league this season, but I do think he needed to win a trophy. And if you look at the way we're playing now, there is no chance that we'll be able to go to a final in the League Cup and win that. It's not going to happen. I don't know how we're going to progress through the FA Cup when actually one of our most hungriest players and our best players, Hudson-Odoi, who featured in that game and scored a goal, was then punished and left out of a Premier League match. There's the whole system of things going on here that isn't correct. And yeah, I think that if you don't have a proven track record of being able to take your team from good to bad and still win trophies, and that's a problem. I know we're not at the end of the season yet, but for me, I didn't expect this so soon in. So unfortunately, what didn't bother me at the start now does bother me, and I'm just sick of watching this crap, to be honest. And point 5, and probably my main point, is not just system but team selection. His team selection's all off, his substitutions are terrible, and I think the turning point for me, actually, he started off quite well in the first part of the season, and then it got to probably, I'm going to say the turning point for me, it takes a lot for me to get on a manager's back, I think. But the turning point for me was against Arsenal. We were 2-0 down at half-time. It wasn't just down to individual mistakes, it wasn't down to a player actually being offside and getting a goal. It wasn't down to a false penalty being given. It was down due to the fact that we were terrible. We were playing awful. And I can only imagine that all those Arsenal players were thinking, God, they're awful against us. We've got this in the bag. It's half-time, we're 2-0 down, and he still doesn't make a change. He still doesn't change the system up. And I'm just thinking to myself, what must you cannot be that stubborn. I got on to Conte last season when he was being stubborn and not playing certain players and making a point to the board or making a point to the players or whatever. It doesn't work. It's very frustrating, and it's very long for the fans. What's a posh way of saying long, Sammy? I don't know, but yeah, it is. It's just such a disappointment when you go to these games, when you spend this money on the tickets, when you're watching a game. You're not a manager. We are not qualified instructors. We are not you know, we're not specialists in what they do. We don't know the ins and outs of, you know, how to keep up players' fitness and all these sorts of things. You know, we don't know that. That's their job. But if we can see the problem and the manager can't, that to me is a huge deal. So unfortunately, I think his team selection, his substitutions have been that bad that I just don't understand it, you know. And also, to be fair, when we had this transfer window, we signed Jorginho and Kovacic to me is a fantastic player. To not be getting the best out of those players, I'm confused, guys. I'm very, very confused. So there you have it. Those are the 5 reasons I believe that Sarri should no longer be in charge of Chelsea FC. Comment below. I'm sorry if it's a harsh video, but it's got to be said. You don't lose 4-0 against Bournemouth for nothing, and that was just, you know, the tip of the iceberg. And now I've dropped all my marbles, and I'm not happy about it. So yeah, comment below. Let me know your thoughts, and yeah, apologies if you don't like this video, but I'm just saying what I think a lot of the fans think. This is now the bar area where we also film Sophie and Rory here, don't we? So here is the Sophie and Rory bar area.